Hello, I'm Mark Cannon, and I appreciate the opportunity to be with you in this course. I'll tell you a little bit about my background and how I got involved in this because the experiences I've had in work and academia have led me to certain conclusions about what I believe is most useful to you to know about organizations. And so, to roll it back a little bit, I had long wanted to have a career where I could do some meaningful work, and I was open about what that might be. But I wanted to learn as much as I could about different kinds of organizations and careers and things like that. So even in high school, I took a lot of opportunities to get internships. I was able to work at Brookings Institution and in the US Senate and a variety of other places. And also started out as an undergraduate in economics. But the more I learned about economics and the rational school of thought that surrounded organizations from an economic standpoint, that as I continued on to work in organization, I realized there was a lot of deviation from what might be the rational, most reasonable thing to do, and became increasingly curious about why. So I continued my work working at Marriott Corporation, Council for Inter-American Security. I worked for James Downey and Company, which is a small family-owned business, and also the U.S. Department of State and the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts. And so throughout all these processes, it just became increasingly clear to me as I saw how people worked together or didn't work together well, that there was just an awful lot more to it than an economic model of people doing rational things. All of these organizations, I saw some kind of conflict, some kind of issue, some kind of inability to collaborate or get along or one thing or another. And it was consistent enough that I realized this is probably more of just the way things are rather than something that's distinctive to a particular organization I was working in. So as I proceeded, I got increasingly interested in behavior of human beings and why people do what they do and what are the best ways to work out and be able to find ways to work together effectively. So I started taking more behavioral science classes, and as I got more intrigued with behavioral science, I decided to get a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, partly because I just wanted to understand what are the parameters or how changeable are people, and I thought the only way I'm going to learn that is by getting some kind of counseling degree. So I finished my economics degree, I got a master's degree in marriage and family therapy, and I took a lot of classes in organizational behavior also, and realized that what I really wanted to do was to go on and to be a professor of organizational behavior, organization theory, and to be able to understand organizations better, but also to do some research and writing about organizations, organization effectiveness, to try to figure out what does work best and why. And also to be able to do a variety of work in the field in terms of consulting and that kind of thing. So from my master's program, I took my first full-time regular job at Harvard Business School as a research associate. And I did that for a year and then joined the doctoral program there in organizational behavior. It was a joint program, and so I went through a year of the MBA as part of my doctoral degree, as well as a whole batch of classes in the business school. But they linked across also just for breadth and for research breadth to the arts and sciences. And so I also did all the requirements for a doctorate in social psychology, and that was required as part of our doctoral program. That gave me just a very rich opportunity to both do the business work, but also the psychology, social psychology kind of work. And I just had an immensely beneficial and lovely experience with all kinds of faculty from across the university, which did a great deal to enhance my education and also my life. So things that became particularly interesting to me were around these issues of dealing with conflict and to be able to have good quality conversations, learning conversations, give quality feedback, anywhere where there's emotional barriers or emotional issues that block learning and change. So I continued on with that and wrapped up from there to come to Vanderbilt University. I've been teaching for over 30 years now in a variety of capacities, ever since being a teaching assistant in honors economics as an undergraduate. And I've brought all the different pieces that I've learned together to try to make this course as interesting and also as useful to you as possible. So we'll be looking at a variety of organization theories. There's an immense amount you could learn. We've tried to bucket it into 4 buckets, which are areas of organization theory, which are human resources, structure, political, and also symbolic. And those are captured in the book Reframing Organizations, which uses 4 frames or 4 lenses. This course will be as much about your quality of thinking and being able to look at the world from different perspectives, different aspects of theory, and then be able to pull all the pieces together so that rather than having a narrow view or a narrow framing of a problem, you're able to pull all the pieces together and understand accurately and systemically what's going on in organizational situations, but also have arrived at a wisdom to be able to intervene or to make good decisions or decide, all things considered, what should be done in this situation to make this organization or group or individual better at what they're currently doing and more prepared for the future as it unfolds.